Good now. Where are we? There we go. Good now, lovelies. I've been running around since 5:30 this morning. Somehow time, I don't understand how 4 hours flew by. Like, who did that? All right, who do we have? Anders, Justin, Kathleen, Belinda, Jen, good now, love, Twyla, good now, Wendy, good now. Who else has popped in? Liliana, good now, love, Puerto Rico, so Liliana. Good now, love. Who else? Geneva, good now. Did I miss anyone? And good now to anyone in private mode. I'm getting myself together. Every time I say together, I think of Michael Jackson's song, Get Together. I know it's a cover, I think. I don't think he was original. But his version makes me happy. Let me say, adds to my happiness. I make myself happy. Comes internally. Ooh, who's on there? Good now. Whose button's BB? I feel like you told me before. I could be wrong. Are y'all ready for this book? Cause it's gonna be a lot. Good now, Karen Q. Good now, Laura. Good now, Hamila. 4 hours seems like an hour these days. I know. I'm like, what? How did this happen? Good now, Sarah. All right, today's gonna be. You bought the book. I am set, or maybe I should walk. Brenda, good now, Brenda. I tried to read it years ago and couldn't get through it. Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad we're doing this together. Good now, Diane. Yeah, this book is something. It's a beautiful, beautiful warning, I guess. No, seriously, it may challenge you probably more than the Letting Go book if you joined us on the Letting Go book. I still have that playlist on the channel. This will be a playlist on the channel as well. Especially because when I'm at the retreat in a couple of weeks, I will more than likely be holding this like super early in the morning so that I am not interfering with the retreat. Nice to be with you. I'm glad. Nice to be with you too, love. Did I miss anyone? I saw someone else was reading this book with their group this month too. It must be time. It must be time. Was it on this? This is Jamila on YT. Is it on IT as well, Jamila? And welcome, who have I not said good now to? I think everyone that I can see. Yarira and Jess. There you go. Good now, lovelies. I'll get us started in a couple minutes, just giving people time to pop in. Hail, good now, hail. All right. I feel like, oh, did I click a button? Look at y'all. Y'all can see two of me. What button did I click? Sorry. Oh, I know. This one. There we go. I was just about to point that out. Yeah, I was looking at it now because I could see it, and I'm like, what did... At first, because it also has a little window that lets me monitor both from the same screen. So at first I thought it was that, but I was like, no. No, the Queen Po on YT, but I think she's doing it on Patreon. Got it. Kathleen moved to the YT because she's going to multitask. Open the depot store. Got it. And wanna load up my inventory. I am not mad at it. For a second, I thought it was my connection. That's a reasonable thought. Awesome. All right, we are at the 5-minute mark. Good now, M. Who else has popped in? Catherine, good now, love. All right, so as I was alluding to earlier, good now, Sarah. This book is also another mirror book. So if anything ever becomes a bit much, do what you need to do to take care of yourself. It also may question some paradigms or cause you to question some paradigms that you already have. Good now, Bethany. It is an intense book. um, and that's good because I always encourage you to question your thoughts, and this is going to be not only your thoughts but your beliefs. So it may create some introspective actions. There is a study guide at the end of each chapter, so we'll be doing the study guide along with it after the chapter. Today will be a little bit long because I am also going to read, how do you call it, the forward. He has a forward for this edition, and he has a forward from the very first edition. And I'm also going to let Maya Angelou and Oprah Winfrey, I'm going to have that play out in Audible because nothing's better than hearing their voice share their experience with the book. Is it really? Let me see which mic I'm using. It's my MacBook. I wonder if... Can y'all hear me okay? Good now, Robin. You can hear okay? Okay. Thank you, Jenny. Good now, love. I wonder if it's trying to compensate for the music, and because I got the speaker right here next to wherever the speaker is on the MacBook. I could do this. How's this sound? It doesn't seem like just when I move. How's this one? Is this better? A better microphone? Good now, Martin. Better? Better, richer? Good. It better be. It's an expensive microphone. All right, cool. Think it's when you turn your head? Okay, perfect. Well, that's good because the book is over here because I moved my big monitor over here and the microphone is right here. So maybe it'll all better. Maybe it'll all mesh well. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna get us started, but I see a couple new faces, so I'm going to, excellent. Say good now, Lorna. My mouse is not clicking. Good now, Britt. Did I say good now to Rachel? Good now, love. Better like cheddar. Lila, good now. I popped in for a couple of seconds. I'm going to go to bed, but yes, it will be recorded. It's on my Tubular, my channel. Good now, Erin. Good now, Tori and Jane. Good now, loves. I think I said good now to everyone I can see. If I have not said good now to you, please just I'm here, and so I can say good now. I love to acknowledge that you are taking time to be here and you're showing up for you. Night for you. Rest well, Lila. Yeah, it's like 11 going on midnight for her, 11:30 p.m. So yes, please go to sleep. All right, y'all. Actually, let me do this first. Let me pull up what I need, what I would like for y'all to listen to. Oprah. Are you on doing the book study on? Yep, we're doing. Yes, I was. We just finished it. Yep, 'tis me. 'Tis I. Is that right? I don't know. Okay, Seat of the Soul. And I'm going to pull up. I'll let you hear Oprah's, and then I'll let you hear Maya Angelou's. Then I'll read the forward for the 25th edition and the forward for the first edition. Altogether, that is, I don't know, 10, 20, just over 20 minutes. And then we'll read chapter 1. And before we go into the study guide of chapter 1, I'm going to have everybody take a break to include myself. You got to hop out. We'll watch the tube. Okay, Twyla. Cool. You just checked out the book this morning. Excellent, Marie. And good now to you. Good now, Jamie. So that is the agenda, if you will. Good now, another Jen here. And without further ado, since we are using this mic, I'm going to make sure I have this close enough. Oh, is that what you were asking? So yeah, Wendy, who is here in the audience, Wendy is starting the Letting Go. Wendy, when are you starting that book, or did you already start? We just finished it here, and then Wendy is starting it on her side. Good now, Susie. I don't remember when she said. On Wednesday. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so Jenny, if you are wanting to follow that book, Wendy will be reading it and repeating on Saturday morning. Awesome. Also, Wendy sent me the PDF of the book that we're reading now, so if anyone wants the PDF, she sent it to me to offer to anyone who wants it here. So just reach out to me directly and I will send it to you. All right, loves. Without further ado, let us hear from Oprah. Hold on. It's not connected to a speaker, so let me do it this way. That way you'll be able to hear it more rich as opposed to just coming from the iPhone itself. No falling. All the pop-ups like, shh, I got it. Wendy will read on her second hour of her lives on both Wednesday and Saturday. Letting Go. Awesome. Thank you. Hale and Lila and I just came. Wendy, we should have gotten breakfast on the way over. Yeah, man. You got time.
Or a speeding car.
Shh.
We say that.
All right. Oprah.
Preface to The Seat of the Soul, 25th Anniversary Edition by Oprah Winfrey.
Can y'all hear this okay?
Hi, I'm Oprah Winfrey. I first read The Seat of the Soul in 1989. As with all books I'm excited about, I also bought copies for my friends and colleagues so that everybody could be reading it at the same time. I happened to be the first one to finish, which meant I had nobody to discuss the book with. So I got my hands on the Mount Shasta, California phone directory and called Gary Zukav.
Who does that?
Mr. Zukav, hello, my name is Oprah. I just want to talk to you about your book, and I'd love you to come on my show and share your... What did you say your name was, he said? Oprah. Could you spell that, please, he said. I did, O-P-R-A, and the H is silent, I explained. And then I told him that I had a talk show and had to explain what a talk show was, because Gary had been without a television for several years. This, of course, made me even more eager to speak with him. I wanted to know how he knew what he knew. The things he'd written resonated so deeply with me and felt so true, but how did he know for sure? The Seat of the Soul changed the way I see myself. It changed the way I view the world. It caused a profound shift in the way I conduct all my relationships, business and personal. The book came to me at the perfect time, at a moment in my life when I was ready for and open to more connection, more harmony, more peace, more joy. I could sense that there was more to our existence than day-to-day experiences and the rituals of work and relationships, more to life than our five senses could hold. The Seat of the Soul put into words what my own soul already knew and had been trying to tell me. It was such an exhilarating awakening to see affirmed in print what I hadn't discovered, the language to articulate myself. When I first read the words, multi-sensory perception, I felt as though Gary had touched a nerve. In fact, the book felt like one great multi-sensory explosion. Everywhere I looked after reading it, I saw and experienced life in a new light. Gary's book for me was one aha moment after another, all steering me in the direction of true north. My favorite insight, this one. When the personality comes fully to serve the energy of its soul, that is authentic empowerment. It is no big secret that I have a big personality. I've been using that personality to my advantage since the 3rd grade. But using my personality to serve my soul and making sure the two were aligned, well, that just changed the way I did everything. I suddenly recognized all the times I'd ever gotten off track in my life by letting my personality rule and not be in alignment with my soul. I started to notice that the degree to which I ever felt unhappiness, discomfort, or despair was in direct proportion to how far I let myself stray from the seat of my soul. The chapter that stirred me most was the one about intention. Whoa. These words became my living creed. Every action, thought, and feeling is motivated by an intention. And that intention is a cause that exists as one with an effect. If we participate in the cause, it is not possible for us not to participate in the effect. In this most profound way, we are held responsible for our every action, thought, and feeling, which is to say, for our every intention. Those words, I gotta tell you, changed my life. Prior to reading The Seat of the Soul, I suffered from what I call the disease to please. Like millions of people, most of them women, I was a slave, really, to the needs, to the wants, desires of other people. I would say yes when I seriously wanted to say no. I would give my precious time, my energy, money, gifts, whatever was asked, simply to avoid the possibility of upsetting someone. I once flew from Chicago to Spain, appeared on stage for less than 45 seconds at a friend's charity benefit, then got back on a plane and flew straight to work to do my show, all because I didn't know how to say no. To this day, I couldn't even tell you what the charity event was for. This sort of thing used to happen to me all the time. My life was a whirlwind of one event after another. Non-stop speaking engagements, appearances for almost anybody who would ask. I wanted people to like me. And as long as I gave them what they wanted, I suppose they did. My breakthrough was recognizing that my intention to be liked was causing all of the requests. Cause and effect. If your intention is to do what other people want, they'll just keep asking you to do exactly that. And that was an aha moment. When I changed my intention to be about doing what I wanted, what I felt was worthy of my time, the effect automatically changed. 25 years later, today, for me, moving with intentional purpose is like breathing. But I had to learn the practice from the pages of The Seat of the Soul. Gary Zukav's principle of intention fundamentally altered my every action. It even changed the consciousness of the Oprah Winfrey Show. When we first started, producers would present their ideas in a weekly pitch session. But after encountering Gary's ideas from The Seat of the Soul, I created a new policy. For all the producers, I would say, state your intention for the show first. Why do you want to do it? What do you want the outcome to be? Sometimes producers who had to fill 200 show slots a year would make up an intention just to appease me, and I would say, nope, not a good enough reason. Even if the intention had no redeeming value other than we just want to entertain people and get a high rating, I encouraged all of us to be clear about it. State your case with intention and purpose, and the result will follow suit. On Gary Zukav's first appearance on my show in 1998, we discussed the nature of the soul. That interview set my career on a new course. Bringing spirituality to daytime television was uncharted territory, let me tell you, my friends. Having a conversation about consciousness, responsibility, intention, and the law of cause and effect was not exactly ratings-busting TV. But I told myself, if not now, when? To be honest, had I not owned and controlled that show, Gary's 36 appearances over the years would never have happened. My producers were convinced in the beginning that television just wasn't ready for a conversation about the soul. But the course I took has served me well, and I continue to explore the spiritual side of life on my own cable network. Quite frankly, I don't believe I would have ever dreamed of creating such a network had I not read The Seat of the Soul. I've taught leadership classes at the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls with the help of the Seat of the Soul. I've used its principles to teach elementary school students and high school students, even MBAs at the Kellogg School of Management. I get a surge of delight every single time someone reads this book and feels the amazement I felt 25 years ago when I first picked up its pages. If you're ready to see the world in a new way, if you're ready for your life to open up and change, if you're ready for an exhilarating awakening, I think you'll feel it too.
Preface to The Seat of the Soul, 25th Anniversary Edition by Dr. Maya Angelou.
Courage is the most important of all the virtues, because without courage, one cannot practice any virtue consistently. We can be kind, generous, just, courteous, and merciful sporadically, but to display those virtues consistently calls for an enormous display of courage. From childhood on, we have been taught that the heart, the mind, and the personality, the spirit and the soul, have come to life together, occupying the same space, and then they will go together into death. The intrepid, daring Gary Zukav, in his book, The Seat of the Soul, introduces a brand new concept to my mind, or rather a concept which I found in my youthful years in the Negro spirituals, a concept which confused me because the lyrics suggested that pain and joy, weeping and laughing, were all together when death came, and that they left together to go into death. The song, however, which often calls God the soul, informs the listener that the soul never dies, but will continue and bring into life another mind and personality, as well as other troubles and joys. They would bear the experience of living unto death, would relieve them of their responsibility. Then as they died, soul, or God, will continue as it could not die. Zukav, a respectful thinker, is able in his book, The Seat of the Soul, to show the reader how human evolution is achieved by the continuity of the soul and the ability of a personality to die and another to be born a little better, a little stronger, and a little more daring. I don't know if the poet in Zukav took his hand and bid him tell the hard truths as easily as willow trees bow gracefully along a brookside. There are some readers who choose books for summer reading and others for vacation entertainment. The reader who chooses The Seat of the Soul should put the book on a shelf near the bed or on a lamp table which boasts of a good, strong bulb. I keep my second copy of the book covered in plastic at the kitchen table, so it will be protected from years of use and so that the olive oil from a just-made salad will not smudge the cover. After reading Zukav's book for the 10th time, I still found it outrageous. I remembered a play I wrote called And Still I Rise. The two characters in the play, male and female, have died and found themselves in what they think is a waiting room. A ghoulish creature appears. The male character, named Zebediah, says, "I know who you are. You're the gatekeeper. You will take us to the place we're supposed to go to, heaven or hell." The female character, Annabelle, adds, "I didn't make it, but I truly tried to live a good life, a clean, kind, fair life." The eerie creature starts a little laugh, which turned into huge laughter. He gazes at the two piteous-looking characters and says, "I am always amazed, even startled, at the condition of human imagination. You think there is only a heaven or hell. Zebediah and Annabelle, in your futures alone, there are possibly 800 destinations." In my play, Annabelle and Zebediah, who had been sitting separately, move to each other without seeming to notice. Suddenly they are close enough to embrace, and they do. The lyrics of the 19th century Negro spiritual are, "Soon I will be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. I'm going home to meet my God. No more weeping and wailing, no more weeping and wailing. No more laughing and dancing, no more moaning and crying. I'm going home to meet my God." Obviously, the poet decided a minutiae of daily life occupies one space, and that the true soul of the poet lives in another space, which the poet calls God. I suggest to the new Zukav reader to draw close to share this book with someone who has firm nerve and a wonderful sense of humor, because when Zukav's ideas stop challenging you, you will laugh with the wonderful laughter of the discoverer who has found a new continent. No more weeping and wailing, no more weeping and wailing, no more weeping and wailing. I'm going home to live with God, my soul.
All right. And so the journey begins. Forward to the Seat of the Soul, 25th Anniversary Edition. Good now, Lynn. Well, you're in for a treat. This 25th Anniversary Edition of the Seat of the Soul fills me with gratitude and joy. After I finished the manuscript 25 years ago, I sat with it wondering whether anyone would read it, and if anyone read it, whether any words, and if anyone read it, whether anyone would understand it. In the midst of these thoughts, another thought appeared, louder and clearer. It said, "Do not be concerned. This arrow will find its mark." The Seat of the Soul has now found its way to millions of hearts, and the arrow is still in flight. I'm like on the verge of tears for some reason. Mother Angelou. Okay. While writing my first book, it's hard to read when you got tears. And I have no idea what it is. Yep. This is a good book. When writing my first book, The Dancing Wu Li Masters, an overview of the new physics, I discovered, to my complete surprise, inspiration that came from beyond my mind, non-physical intelligence that I could not articulate, and the electricity of creating consciously with constructive intent. I had never experienced anything like this. I loved these experiences, but, for the most part, I forgot about them after the book was finished. The Dancing Wu, I don't know if it's Lee, is L-I, Lee or Lai, Masters is probably Lee, which won the American Book Award for Science, established me as a popularizer of modern science. Many people expected me to follow it with a sequel, a son of Wu Li Masters, that would explain more cutting-edge science. Instead, my next book was about evolution, reincarnation, karma, and the soul. It was about emotional awareness, responsible choice, and intuition. It was about an unprecedented transformation of human consciousness and the emergence of a new power, authentic power. In short, the new book was about a new human species, its new capabilities, and its new potential. This book was the Seat of the Soul. It surprised me more than anyone. Everything remarkable that touched me briefly while I was writing The Dancing Wu Li Masters returned undeniably, unmistakably, irrevocably into my awareness. I discovered non-physical reality. I'm still growing into that discovery. All creative people, which is everyone, require commitment and time and courage to grow into their insights. Inspiration is one thing. Applying it to your life is another. My friend, Maya Angelou, tells me that when people tell her, "I am a Christian," she replies, "Really? Already? I am in my 80s and I'm still trying." Like Maya, I am still learning, still striving to apply the most meaningful insights of my life, and still changing for the better. Reading The Seat of the Soul 25 years after it was written was a completely surprising and deeply fulfilling experience. The book seemed perfect. Every sentence carried meaning for me. Soon, almost the entire book was underlined. I was thirsty for the words. They sank into me like water into dry sand. They nurtured and soothed me. The blessing that I felt when I was writing this book returned to me amplified many times. I basked in it. I thought I knew it all. After all, I typed it, edited, and talked about it for years. But rereading the book showed me that I had things to remember, more to learn, and much more to practice. The Seed of the Soul The Seed of the Soul brought remarkable people into my life. Two of them in particular touched me more deeply than I could have imagined and continue to support me in ways that thrill and surprise me. The first is Linda Francis. I do not remember the first time we met, although she does. We met again a year later at a small retreat where I was speaking. I remember everything about that meeting. I was surrounded by loving people, and I found myself pushing one of them away, Linda. I wanted none of the hugs she gave so freely. This was my first clue that parts of me were threatened by her, but I was not aware enough to recognize it. I could not escape her at the event. For example, a friend saved a seat for me at a concert. A different friend saved a seat for Linda, and the saved seats were together. I began to share my curiosity with her. Why was I pushing only her away? I shared my intention not to be controlled by this unusual repulsion. I will not refuse your love, I told her, not romantic love, but the love that she so obviously felt with her friends at the retreat and that she held out to me as well. At the end of the event, friends invited me to join them for a cold splash in a waterfall. When they suggested I invited Linda, I became irritated. Linda, what is this thing with Linda? Can I do nothing? Can I do anything at this event without Linda? When Linda called me a month later to tell me that she was moving to Mount Shasta, California, where I lived, a decision that predated the retreat, I felt frightened and, again, curious. When our friends and I welcomed her to her new home, I was surprised to realize how much I had been looking forward to her arrival. I was relaxed, comfortable, happy, and open. We began to visit each other. Some of our talks I enjoyed and others I did not, but I found myself looking forward to each one. Several months later, the thought occurred to me, I think I'm in a relationship. Without the sexual interactions that had begun my previous relationships, new and different kinds of interactions began to occur. These were my first experiences of a substantive and deep relationship for the purpose of spiritual growth, a spiritual partnership. A half year later, about 20 years ago, she moved into my cabin, and our journey together continues today. In our years together, I have marveled not only that I love Linda, something I did not think myself capable of when we met, but that I love loving her. This is the experience that intrigues me. It is as strong in me now as it was when I discovered it. Where does that come from? The second person is Oprah Winfrey. She is the instrument that the universe chose to explode me out of the backcountry and into the larger world. I suspect that nothing less than that explosion could have done it. She took me into her heart, her creativity, and her famous, the Oprah, why do I have a hard time saying her name? Oprah Winfrey Show. First, I was a recluse on a mountain, and then, a few months later, I was speaking to 10 million people monthly. New friends appeared wherever I went in the world, thanking me for a show, smiling at me from a distance. It took me a long time to acknowledge that my life of isolation was over, and even longer to welcome it. During each show, Oprah and I sat before an eager audience in the company of fellow souls around the world. She introduced a theme, asked me some questions, and then, with a gesture of her hand or movement of her face, turned the attention to millions of people toward me. It was terrifying and awesome. Sacred and holy are better words. When a national magazine pursued me for an article, she counseled, "It's only cotton candy, Gary, only cotton candy." What could have described external power better? My adopted Sioux uncle, Phil Lane Sr., once told me after watching one of our shows, "Nephew, you are talking like the old people." That memory fills me with strength and gratitude. I am grateful for Oprah and to the universe for all of these experiences and more. In the years following my show with Oprah, Linda and I confounded the Seat of the Soul Institute, gave many events, wrote books, and developed long-term, in-depth programs for small groups. Now our passion for supporting people in spiritual partnerships has grown stronger than ever, but traveling has become taxing for us. So we have created new digital tools and innovative ways to use the internet, such as ongoing support program, e-course, newsletters, an online spiritual partnership community, live videos, and the web addresses at the end of the chapter. Study guides in this book. Oh, at the end of the chapter, study guides. I don't know if I'm reading that right. Study guide in this book. Yeah, I did. Okay. Tap them in your ebook or type them into your browser, and they will take you to the web pages that will help you further explore, integrate, and apply what you are studying. You will find all of these and more at seatofthesoul.com. Linda and I still enjoy giving live events when possible, including our favorite, the annual The Journey to the Soul Summer Retreat. I hope that I will meet you personally at one of them. The internet is a reflection in the domain of the five senses of our emerging awareness of our connectedness. It does not create or even increase our connectedness. It is not possible for us to be more or less connected than we are with one another and life. Can a flower be more or less connected to its color? Let us enjoy this beautiful reflection together and also what it reflects. The most difficult, gratifying, and thrilling experiences I have had since publishing The Seat of the Soul have been my experiences of authentic power and creating authentic power. Spiritual partnerships, richness of co-creation, and awe of life have slowly replaced my experiences of people as things and my tormenting journeys through anger, jealousy, despair, and unworthiness. I still encounter parts of my personality that are angry, frightened, jealous, superior, and inferior, but now I see them as opportunities to create authentic power, to choose anew. If I can do this, you can too. I know that eventually you will. The transformation of consciousness that is expanding our perception beyond the five senses, redefining power, and showing us the potential of a universal humanity is proceeding in full force. Each choice of fear, anger, jealousy, vengefulness is a choice to evolve unconsciously through the painful, destructive consequences that fear creates. Each choice of love, gratitude, patience, appreciation is a choice to evolve consciously through the healthy, constructive consequences that love creates. Why not choose the conscious path, the path of joy? Why not journey consciously to the seat of your soul, that place where you transform energy into matter with your intentions, infuse your world with love, and live there? All roads lead to home. Gary Zukav. And forward to the first edition. During the years I was writing the Dancing Wu Lee Masters, and after, I was drawn again and again to the writings of William James, Carl Jung, Benjamin Lee, Worf, Niels Bohr, and Albert Einstein. I returned to them repeatedly. I found in them something special, although it was not until later that I was able to understand that specialness. These fellow humans reached for something greater than they were able to express directly through their work. They saw more than they could express in the language of psychology or linguistics or physics, and they sought to share what they saw. It was what they sought to share through the medium of their work that drew me to them. They were mystics, that is my word. They would not use such language, but they knew it. They feared that their careers might become contaminated by association with those who did not work within the scientific model, but in the depths of their own thoughts, they each saw too much to be limited by the five senses, and they were not. Their works contribute not only to the evolution of psychology, linguistics, and physics, but also to the evolution of those who read them. They have the capability to change those who touch them in ways that also can be expressed directly in the terms of psychology or linguistics or physics. Cannot be expressed. I read it right the first time. As I came to understand in retrospect, the magnetic quality that these works held for me, I came to understand that what motivated these men was not earthly prizes or the respect of colleagues, but that they put their souls and minds on something and reached the extraordinary place where the mind could no longer produce data of the type that they wanted, and they were in the territory of inspiration, where their intuitions accelerated and they knew that there was something more than the realm of time and space and matter, something more than physical life. They knew it. They could not necessarily articulate this clearly because they were not equipped to talk about such things, but they felt it and their writings reflected it. In other words, I came to understand that what motivated these men, and many others, was in fact something of great vision that comes from beyond the personality. Each of us is now being drawn, in one way or another, to that same great vision. It is more than a vision. It is an emerging force. It is the next step in our evolutionary journey. Humanity, the human species, is longing now to touch that force, to shed that which interferes with clear contact. Much of the difficulty in doing this lies in the fact that the vocabulary with which to address this new force, which is indeed the eternal force, is not yet born. In this moment, and in this hour of human evolution, this proper vocabulary and means of addressing that which longs to transcend religious and spirituality and assume the position of authentic power is longing to be born. We need to give that which we as a species are now touching consciously for the first time, a vocabulary that is not clouded so that it can be identified clearly in the acts and judgments of the human race, so that it can be seen clearly and not through veils of mystery or mysticism, but simply as the authentic power that moves the force fields of this earth of ours. As a way of talking about what we are and what we are becoming, I have used the terms five-sensory and multisensory. Multisensory is not better than five-sensory. It is simply more appropriate now. As one system of human experience winds down and another, more advanced system emerges, the older system may appear by comparison to be lacking, but from the perspective of the universe, the language of comparison is not the language of lesser or better, but of limitation and opportunity. The experiences of the multisensory human are less limited than the experiences of the five-sensory human. They provide more opportunities for growth and development and more opportunities to avoid unnecessary difficulties. I have contrasted the experiences of the five-sensory human with the experiences of the multisensory human in each instance to make their differences as clear as possible, but this does not mean that the five-sensory phase of our evolution, the phase from which we are emerging, is negative in comparison to the phase of our evolution that we are entering, the multisensory phase. It is simply that it is now no longer appropriate, just as there came a time when the use of candles became inappropriate because of electricity, but the advent of electricity did not make candle power negative. Who among us is an expert on the human experience? We have only the gift of sharing perceptions that hopefully can help those on their journey. There is no such thing as an expert on the human experience. The human experience is an experience in movement and thought and form, and in some cases, an experiment in movement and thought and form. Did I not? Oh, experiment. I was like, what? Did I just read that twice? Okay, let me reread that sentence again. The human experience is an experience in movement and thought and form, and in some cases, an experiment in movement and thought and form. If I read that right the first time, my bad. I didn't hear it. The most that we can do is comment on the movement, the thought, and form, but those comments are of great value if they can help people to learn to move gracefully, to think clearly, to form, like artists, the matter of their lives. We are in a time of deep change. We will move through this change more easily if we are able to see the road upon which we are traveling, our destination, and what it is in motion. I offer what is in this book as a window through which I have come to see life. I offer this window to you, but I do not say that it is necessary that you accept it. There are so many ways to wisdom and to the heart. This is our greatest richness and the one that gives me the most joy. We have much to do together. Let us do it in wisdom and love and joy. let us make this human experience. All right, that. And now we can go to chapter 1, evolution. But let me get water first. Chapter 1, evolution. The evolution that we learned about in school is the evolution of physical form. We learned, for example, that the single-celled creature of the oceans are the predecessors of all more complex forms of life. A fish is more complex and, therefore, more evolved than a sponge. A horse is more complex and, therefore, more evolved than a snake. A monkey is more complex and, therefore, more evolved than a horse, and so on, up to human beings, which are the most complex and, therefore, the most evolved life forms upon our planet. We were taught, in other words, that evolution means the progressive of development of organizational complexity. This definition is an expression of the idea that the organism that is best able to control both its environment and all of the other organisms in its environment is the most evolved. Survival of the fittest means that the most evolved organism in a given environment is the organism that is at the top of the food chain in that environment. According to this definition, therefore, the organism that is most able to ensure its own survival, most able to serve its self-preservation, is the most evolved. We have long known that this definition of evolution is inadequate, but we have not known why. When two humans engage one another, they are, in terms of organizational complexity, equally evolved. If both have the same intelligence, yet one is small-minded, mean, the selfish, while the other is magnanimous and altruistic, we say that the one who is magnanimous and altruistic is more evolved. If one human intentionally sacrifices his or her life to save another, by, for example, using his or her own body to shield another from a bullet or a speeding car, we say that the human who sacrificed his or her life indeed was one of the most evolved humans among us. We know that these things to be true, but they are at variance with our understanding of evolution. Jesus, we are told, foresaw the plot against his life, even to the details of how his friends would act and react. Yet, he did not run from what he saw. The entirety of mankind has been exorably shaped by the power and love of one who gave his life for others. All who revere him, and almost all who but know his story, agree that he was one of the most evolved of our species. Our deeper understanding tells us that a truly evolved being is one that values others more than it values itself, and that values love more than it values the physical world and what is in it. We must now bring our understanding of evolution into alignment with this deeper understanding. It is important that we do this because our current understanding of evolution reflects the phase of evolution that we are now leaving. By examining this understanding, we can perceive how we have evolved to now and what we are now in the process of leaving behind. By reflecting upon a new and expanded understanding of evolution, one that validates our deepest truths, we can see what we are evolving into and what that means in terms of what we experience, what we value, and how we act. Our current understanding of evolution results from the fact that we have evolved until now by exploring physical reality with our five senses. We have been, until now, 5-sensory human beings. This path of evolution has allowed us to see the basic principles of the universe in concrete ways. We see through our five senses that every action is a cause that has an effect, and that every effect has a cause. We see the results of our intentions. We see that rage kills. It takes away breath, the life force, and it spills blood, the carrier of vitality. We see that kindness nurtures. We see and feel the effects of a snarl and a smile. We experience our ability to process knowledge. We see, for example, that a stick is a tool, and we see the effects of how we choose to use it. The club that kills can drive a stake into the ground to hold the shelter. The spear that takes a life can be used as a lever to ease life's burdens. The knife that cuts flesh can be used to cut cloth. The hands that build bombs can be used to build schools. The minds that coordinate the activities of violence can coordinate the activities of cooperation. We see that when the activities of life are infused with reverence, they come alive with meaning and purpose. We see that when reverence is lacking from life's activities, the result is cruelty, violence, and loneliness. The physical arena is a magnificent learning environment. It is a school within which, through experimentation, we come to understand what causes us to expand and what causes us to contract, what causes us to grow and what causes us to shrivel, what nourishes our soul and what depletes them, what works and what does not. When the physical environment is seen only from the 5th sensory point of view, physical survival appears to be the fundamental criterion of evolution because no other kind of evolution is detectable. It is from this point of view that survival of the fittest appears to be synonymous with evolution, and physical dominance appears to characterize advanced evolution. When perception of the physical world is limited to 5th sensory modality, the basis of life in the physical arena becomes fear. Power to control the environment and those within the environment appears to be essential. The need for physical dominance produces a type of competition that affects every aspect of our lives. It affects relationships between lovers and between superpowers, between siblings and between races, between classes and between sexes. It disrupts the natural tendency toward harmony between nations and between friends. The same energy that sent warships to the Persian Gulf, sent soldiers to Vietnam and crusaders to Palestine. The energy that separated the family of Romeo from the family of Juliet is the same energy that separates the racial family of the black husband from the racial family of the white wife. The energy that set Lee Harvey Oswald against John Kennedy is the same energy that set Cain against Abel. Brothers and sisters quarrel for the same reason that corporations quarrel. They seek power over one another. The power to control the environment and those within it is power over what can be felt, smelled, tasted, heard, or seen. This type of power is external power. External power can be acquired or lost, as in the stock market or an election. It can be bought or stolen, transferred or inherited. It is thought of as something that can be gotten from someone else or somewhere else. One person's gain of external power is perceived as another person's loss. The result of seeing power as external is violence and destruction. All of our institutions, social, economic, and political, reflect our understanding of power as external. Families, like cultures, are patriarchal or matriarchal. One person wears the pants. Children learn this early, and it shapes their lives. Police departments, like the military, are produced by the perception of power as external. Badge, boots, rank, radio, uniform, weapons, and armor are symbols of fear. Those who fear them are fearful. They fear to engage the world without defenses. Those who encounter these symbols are fearful. They fear the power that these symbols represent, or they fear those whom they expect this power to contain, or they fear both. The police and the military, like patriarchal and matriarchal families and cultures, are not origins of the perception of power as external. They are reflections of the way that we, as a species and as individuals, have come to view power. The perception of power as external has shaped our economics. The ability to control economies within communities and within nations, and the ability to control the transnational economy of the world is concentrated in the hands of a few people. To protect workers from these people, we have created unions. To protect consumers, we have created bureaucracies and government. To protect the poor, we have created welfare systems. This is a perfect reflection of how we have come to perceive power as the possession of a few, while the majority serve as its victims. Money is a symbol of external power. Those who have the most money have the most ability to control their environment and those within it, while those who have the least money have the least ability to control their environment and those within it. Money is acquired, lost, stolen, inherited, and fought for. Education, social status, fame, and things that are owned, if we derive a sense of increased security from them, are symbols of external power. Anything we fear to lose, a home, a car, an attractive body, an agile mind, a deep belief, is a symbol of external power. What we fear is an increase in our vulnerability. This results from seeing power as external. When power is seen as external, the hierarchies of our social, economic, and political structures, as well as the hierarchies of the universe, appear as indicators of who's power and who does not, who has power and who does not. Those at the top appear to have the most power and, therefore, to be the most valuable and the least vulnerable. Those at the bottom appear to be the least powerful and, therefore, to be the least valuable and the most vulnerable. From this perception, the general is more valuable than the private. The executive is more valuable than the chauffeur. The doctor is more valuable than the receptionist. The parent is more valuable than the child. And the divine is more valuable than the worshiper. We fear to transgress our parents, our bosses, our God. All perceptions of lesser and greater personal value result from the perception of power as external. Competition for external power lies at the heart of all violence. The secondary gain behind ideological conflicts, such as capitalism versus communism, and religious conflicts, such as Irish Catholic versus Irish Protestant, and geographical conflicts, such as Jew versus Arab, and familial and marital conflicts, is external power. The perception of power as external splinters the psyche, whether it is the psyche of the individual, the community, the nation, or the world. There is no difference between acute schizophrenia and a world at war. There's no difference between the agony of a splintered soul and the agony of a splintered nation. When a husband and wife compete for power, they engage the same dynamic that humans of one race do when they fear humans of another race. For these dynamics, we have formed our present understanding of evolution as a process of ever-increasing ability to dominate the environment and each other. This definition reflects the limitations of perceiving the physical world with only 5 senses. It reflects the competition for external power that is generated by fear. After millennia of brutality to one another, individual to individual and group to group, it is now clear that the insecurity which underlies the perception of power as external cannot be healed by the accumulation of external power. It is evident for all to see, not only with each newscast and evening paper, but also through each of our countless sufferings as individuals and as a species, that the perception of power as external brings only pain, violence, and destruction. This is how we have evolved until now, and this is what we are leaving behind. Our deeper understanding leads us to another kind of power, a power that loves life in every form, and it appears, and in every form that it appears, a power that does not judge what it encounters, a power that perceives meaningfulness and power and purpose in the smallest details upon the earth. This is authentic power. When we align our thoughts, emotions, and actions with the highest part of ourselves, we are filled with enthusiasm, purpose, and meaning. Life is rich and full. We have no thoughts of bitterness. We have no memory of fear. We are joyously and intimately engaged with our world. This is the experience of authentic power. Authentic power has its roots in the deepest source of our being. Authentic power cannot be bought, inherited, or hoarded. An authentically empowered person is incapable of making anyone or anything a victim. An authentically empowered person is one who is so strong, so empowered, that the idea of using force against another is not a part of his or her consciousness. No understanding of evolution is adequate that does not have at its core that we are on a journey toward authentic power, and that authentic empowerment is the goal of our evolutionary process and the purpose of our being. We are evolving from a species that pursues external power into a species that pursues authentic power. We are leaving behind exploration of the physical world as our sole means of evolution. This means of evolution and the consciousness that results from an awareness that is limited to the 5 sensory modality are no longer adequate to what we must become. We are evolving from five-sensory human beings into multisensory humans. Our five senses, together, form a single sensory system that is designed to perceive reality. The perceptions of a multisensory human being extend beyond physical reality to the larger dynamical systems of which our physical reality is a part. The multisensory human is able to perceive and to appreciate the role that our physical reality plays in a larger picture of evolution and the dynamics by which our physical reality is created and sustained. This realm is invisible to the five-sensory human. It is in this invisible realm that the origins of our deepest values are found. From the perspective of this invisible realm, the motivations of those who consciously sacrifice their lives for higher purposes makes sense. The power of Gandhi is explicable, and the compassionate acts of Christ are comprehensible in a fullness that is not accessible to the five-sensory human. All of our great teachers have been, or are, multisensory humans. They have spoken to us and acted in accordance with perceptions and values that reflect the larger perspective of the multisensory being, and, therefore, their words and actions awaken within us the recognition of truths. From the perception of the five-sensory human, we are alone in this universe that is physical. From the perception of the multisensory human, we are never alone. The universe is alive, conscious, intelligent, and compassionate. From the perception of the five-sensory human, the physical world is an unaccountable given in which we unaccountably find ourselves, and we strive to dominate it so that we can survive. From the perception of the multisensory human, the physical world is a learning environment that is created jointly by the souls that share it, and everything that occurs within it serves their learning. From the perceptions of the five-sensory human, intentions have no effect, the effects of actions are physical, and not all actions affect us or others. From the perception of a multisensory human, the intention behind an action determines its effects. Every intention affects both us and others, and the effects of intentions extend far beyond the physical world. What does it mean to say that an invisible realm exists in which the origins of our deeper understanding are located? What are the implications of considering the existence of a realm that is not detectable through the five senses, but that can be known, explored, and understood by other human faculties? When a question is asked that cannot be answered within the common frame of reference, it can be classified as nonsensical, or it can be dismissed as a question that is not appropriate, or the person who is asking the question can expand his or her consciousness to encompass a frame of reference from which the question can be answered. The first two options are the easy ways out of a confrontation with a question that appears to be nonsensical or inappropriate, but the seeker, the true scientist, will allow himself or herself to expand into a frame of reference from which the answers that he or she is seeking can be understood. We, as a species, have been asking the questions, is there a God? Is there a divine intelligence? And is there a purpose to life? For as long as we have been able to articulate questions. The time has now come for us to expand into a frame of reference that allows these questions to be answered. The larger frame of reference of the multisensory human allows an understanding of the experientially meaningful distinction between the personality and the soul. Your personality is that part of you that was born into, lives within, and will die within time. To be a human and to have a personality are the same thing. Your personality, like your body, is the vehicle of your evolution. The decisions that you make and the actions that you take upon the earth are the means by which you evolve. At each moment, you choose the intention that will shape your experiences and those things upon which you will focus your attention. These choices affect your evolutionary process. This is so for each person. If you choose unconsciously, you evolve unconsciously. If you choose consciously, you evolve consciously. The fear and violent emotions that have come to characterize human existence can be experienced only by the personality. Only the personality can feel anger, fear, hatred, vengeance, sorrow, shame, regret, indifference, frustration, cynicism, and loneliness. Only the personality can judge, manipulate, and exploit. Only the personality can pursue external power. The personality can also be loving, compassionate, and wise in its relationships with others. But love, compassion, and wisdom do not come from the personality. They are experiences of the soul. Your soul is that part of you that is immortal. Every person has a soul, but a personality that is limited in its perception to the five senses is not aware of its soul and therefore cannot recognize the influences of its soul. As a personality becomes multisensory, its intuitions, its hunches and subtle feelings become important to it. It senses things about itself, other people, and the situation in which it finds itself that it cannot justify on the basis of the information that its five senses can provide. It comes to recognize intention and to respond to them rather than to the actions and the words that it encounters. It can recognize, for example, a warm heart beneath a harsh and angry manner, and a cold heart beneath a polished and pleasing word. When a multisensory personality looks inside itself, it finds a multitude of different currents. Through experience, it learns to distinguish between these currents and to identify the emotional, psychological, and physical effects of each. It learns, for example, which currents produce anger, divisive thoughts, and destructive actions, and which currents produce love, healing thoughts, and constructive actions. In time, it learns to value and to identify with those currents that generate creativity, healing, and love, and to challenge and release those currents that create negativity, disharmony, and violence. In this way, a personality comes to experience the energy of its soul. Your soul is not a passive or theoretical entity that occupies a space in the vicinity of your chest cavity. It is a positive, purposeful force at the core of your being. It is that part of you that understands the impersonal nature of the energy dynamics in which you are involved, that loves without restriction and accepts without judgment. If you desire to know your soul, the first step is to recognize that you have a soul. The next step is to allow yourself to consider, if I have a soul, what is my soul? What does my soul want? What is the relationship between my soul and me? And how does my soul affect my life? When the energy of the soul is recognized, acknowledged, and valued, it begins to infuse the life of the personality. When the personality comes to fully serve the energy of its soul, that is authentic power. This is the goal of the evolutionary process in which we are involved and reason for our being. Every experience that you have and will have upon the earth encourages the alignment of your personality with your soul. Every circumstance and situation that gives you the opportunity to choose this path, to allow your soul to shine through, to bring into the physical world through you its unending and unfathomable reverence for and love of life. This is a book about authentic power, the alignment of the personality with the soul, what that involves, how it happens, and what it creates. To understand these things requires an understanding of things that appear unusual to the five-sensory human, but they become natural once you understand evolution, that five-sensory perception is a journey leading to multisensory perception, and that you were not always meant to be five-sensory. That is chapter 1. Before we go to the study guide, what are your thoughts? What are your questions? Good now, James. And I saw Jennifer had wrote like a lot. Let's see. Crib notes, if I may offer as a contribution. Always, always offer contributions. Everyone, anyone. Is a great start. Is ego the same as personality? Yes, that's my understanding. And soul is the same thing as the capital S, self. Consciousness is another word for it. Being with a capital B is another word for it. I do like nonsensical too, Jamie. That's nonsense. Let me grab. Thank you, Jennifer, for that. Hale says, amazing read. This book, you read this book long ago. So good to revisit and reignite my soul. Thank you, Nicole. You're so welcome. Yeah, this will be my second time through. My first time was last year. I don't know why I don't like to end words. Last year and. All right. Chapter 1 study guide. There will be questions, there will be exercises, and there are life lessons. You came in late, never come across this book before, but it sounds fascinating. It absolutely is. I can't paste it anymore in the chat. If you like, I can send it to you for our group post if you like. Sure, please do. Jamie says, I love that no matter how well we know ourselves, there is always more to discover. We are forever changing and evolving. I like that too, Jamie. What I appreciate about that, and it's actually something I wrote to somebody recently. Oh, in my course, who's doing shadow work, is that I shared, I was like, the answers that you're giving to these prompts in the shadow work course right now may change as you evolve. Because one thing she said, she's like, I'm afraid of getting it wrong. So the fact that your perception and everything will change as you evolve, that means there is no such thing as getting anything wrong. Because you're responding to situations in life at your level of consciousness at that moment, which is not wrong. It's just is what it is. Chapter 1, Reflections, the Seed of the Soul. Evolution reimagined. For many of us, evolution was taught as a ladder of increasing complexity. Yep, from simple organism to humans, with the implicit message that more evolved meant greater intelligence and more control. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I will grab it, and I may create a study guide to add to the Lettuce Fam document so that anybody can access it after. Oh, wake up. After our lives if need be. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead with the study guide. The Seed of the Soul is about the birth of a humanity. Is that what you just wrote? The birth of a new humanity. This birth is part effortless and part challenging. The emergence of multisensory perception beyond what can be seen, heard, tasted, touched, and smelled, is effortless. It is happening whether or not we ask for it. Some people even resist it because they do not want to see what they see. Multisensory perception brings with it a new potential. This is the potential of authentic power. This is where true freedom lies, by the way. Authentic power is the alignment of the personality with the soul. This new potential does not automatically come into being. Each of us must create it for ourselves. Creating authentic power requires experiencing within us the differences between fear and love, and choosing love no matter what is going on inside us, such as anger, jealousy, or resentment, or what is going on outside of us, such as another 9/11 attack, an illness, or the death of a child. This is the challenging part. The Seed of the Soul shows you what authentic power is, why it is important, and how to create it. So, evolution. I'm just grabbing your stuff, Jennifer. Okay. Evolution. When the physical environment is seen only from the 5 sensory point of view, physical survival appears to be the fundamental criteria of evolution, and the basis of life in the physical arena becomes fear. Power to control the environment and those within it appears to be essential. This produces a type of competition that affects every aspect of our lives. Power over what can be felt, smelled, tasted, heard, or seen is external power. All perceptions of lesser and greater personal value result from the perception of power as external. Competition for external power lies at the heart of all violence. Our deeper understanding leads us to another kind of power that loves life in every form. It's kind of a synopsis of chapter 1. Does not judge and perceives meaningfulness and purpose in the smallest details upon the earth. This is authentic power. Authentic power has its roots in the deepest source of our being. It cannot be bought, inherited, or hoarded. We are evolving from a species that pursues external power into a species that pursues authentic power. No understanding of evolution is adequate that does not have at its core that we are on a journey toward authentic power, and that authentic power is the goal of our evolutionary process and the purpose of our being. If you are reading an ebook, click the following link to go to the study guide, but we're on the study guide. So questions. Here are some questions to ask yourself, open to answers that come to you. And when more thoughts come to you, open yourself to them also. There is no right or wrong answer. The questions are designed to help you explore yourself and your experiences. Sometimes answers will continue to come to you. Let that happen. If you are in a group, share your answers and then continue to ask these questions to yourself after you leave the group. Write your answers down so that you will remember them. They will stimulate even more questions and answers when you read them in the future. Let me see. I was trying to see if it would let me show the book, but for some reason it's acting like it doesn't see that. Oh, it's probably because it's Kindle. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to ask the first question. Do you think that a loving person is more evolved than a mean-spirited person, and why? I'll put these in here. I love that, Andy, the way you put that. I forgot when you copy and paste from Kindle, it gives the whole citation as well. You can answer them here. There's a lot of questions, so I'm just going to go through all of them first, and then I'll just be quiet for a little bit, and then we can discuss. The second question is, have you ever had a multi-sensory experience? Let me just do this. Or do you think that you might have had one? I'm grabbing these real quick so that I can paste them without the citation. The third question, because I'm gonna put these in the chat. The third question is, do you ever feel or suspect that you have gifts to give and you want to know what they are? Why is this not letting me copy? This thing is acting suspect. All right, I'm about to put the second question in the chat. Gift as in talent. That is sounds like a question for you to explore further. I'm not going to tell you how to interpret these questions. What comes to mind is what needs to be addressed in that moment for you to explore, not addressed, explore. And the fourth question is, what makes a powerful person powerful? Who affects your life most powerfully? People who intimidate you or people who sincerely care for you? I'm getting these questions real quick. Okay. I'm gonna let y'all grab these. Here's a couple more. Write down several examples of external power. Have you had an experience or experiences of authentic power? Write them down. I like it, James. And the sixth question is, have you ever felt that you were more than you thought you were? For example, more than a mind or body. Yeah, this study guide it's a lot. Not in a bad way. Not that I'm labeling anything, but so everybody get those questions down, whether it be screenshot or written. So next thing is a you know, I was thinking about transcending. That's what I think about when the more you transcend, the more your soul infuses. Okay. Let's see. Jennifer, I don't know how you type so much so quickly. Unless you're talking to type. Good now, Verna. In a way, it's making me late to my meet and greet the Newtown candidates. Bad timing of the meeting. I'll be listening as much as possible. No worries, Laura. You know it's being recorded, so astral projection. A person who can choose compassion over cruelty, curiosity. Oh, that was the answer to the first question. Got it. To me, evolution is not about becoming the strongest, most powerful, most controlling. It's about expanding consciousness. Yep. I like it. Person operating from fear may seek power by controlling, hurting, or diminishing. Person operating from love recognizes that their well-being is connected to the well-being of others. And this is Jennifer. I'm just sharing her reflections. Seek to understand people's experiences rather than reduce them to their behavior. Choose growth, forgiveness, compassion, while still honoring boundaries. Recognize that healing myself can create healing and understanding for others. Yep. Indy says, I think someone loving is more evolved because source is love, and being loving recognizes our source and that we are all one and part of the same energy. It's harder to be loving often than mean-spirited, also with difficult people in hard situations. It's hard until it's not. The more your soul is infused with your personality, the easier it becomes to love even difficult people. But all very good points, Indy and Jennifer, so far. Got it. Seek to understand people's experiences. I think I got that one, yeah. For me, evolution is not about becoming more dominant, becoming more aligned. Yep. Justin says, one part of that stood out to me was early on about the external power in relationships, specifically relationships between siblings. Diane says, I'm enjoying listening and absorbing and look forward to contemplating these questions. Yeah, so next week when we start chapter 2, because I would like, these are not just something you can answer like right there for the most part. Because even what you answer right now, if you actually just let it marinate, it may shift. So I would like, for you to throughout this week, just have them in the back of your mind, and then just jot things down as things just come into your awareness. And then before we get started reading next week, we'll discuss what came to you over this week with these. Justin says, domination really stood out. He kept saying it, and it didn't look at it. I didn't look at it like that. Good now, Nancy. Happy to just join you. Happy you're here too. James says it takes intelligence to understand others, but stillness to understand oneself. I love the way you put that, James. Nancy said too. Jennifer says, I recognize that I have gifts that are unique to me, and sharing those gifts is one of the things that brings me the deepest sense of joy and fulfillment. The gifts are not about being better than anyone. They are about contribution, connection, and purpose. When I'm able to use my curiosity, insight, creativity, compassion, teaching, and ability to see patterns and possibilities, I feel most alive. And the relationship that nourish me most are reciprocal ones, where there's an exchange of energy, wisdom, care, appreciation. Love being able to give, but I also value relationships where I'm seen, supported, and expanded by others. Sharing what I carry inside of me is not something that drains me when it is welcomed and reciprocated. Yeah. Feels like I'm honoring who I am and offering something meaningful to the world. Love it. Thank you, Jennifer. Who has popped in? All right, I'm going to give you the exercise next. Good now, Donna and Kelly and Holly. So Holly. I was saying Holt and Holly at the same time. So Justin says, I had a question and anyone can answer. Is gaining external power for a just cause, one that requires monetary means, is inherently bad? I don't understand the question. Was he saying that any means of external power is bad? For the most part, that was my interpretation, because external power can be lost or diminished or whatever. And so is that really power if something else can shift it? I would say not. That's how I understand it. Indy says, Jennifer, I like the idea of understanding someone's experience instead of judging the behavior, for sure. Lost over time. It could be lost like that. You've seen people fall or whatever. Like it just depends on how people feel in the moment. Yay, you're the best person ever. Ooh, I don't like you forever. And if that is how you define yourself or your experience in life, that is external power. So I'm not gonna say it's bad or good, but I will say it's not stable, and it can create a roller coaster of emotions and experiences in your life in a way that is not as fulfilling. It may feel like it's fulfilling at one point, but the fact that when it's something external to you, there's always an underlying fear that you may lose it or whatever. Hale says, I was in the third grade when I experienced my first epiphany spiritually and had nothing to do with religion. Gary, author, puts in words what I've never been able to explain to others. We are divine by nature and innocently. Yes, I love that. Losing its meaning. Jamie says, when we know who we are, no one can convince us. Exactly. And like, it's that whole concept of, at least the way I think about, like, when someone insults you, if you're offended, it's usually because there's a piece of you that you have not loved, and you resonated with some way, Because there can be other insults that you like, psh, whatever. And there's some that you'll receive, so to speak. But when you know who you are, every piece of you, even ones that could be used to exploit you or whatever, you're like, yeah, whatever. Okay, I know that. What else you got? I'm just saying. Justin says, it reminds me of the quote that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. What do you think about that quote? What reminds you of that? Cindy says, yes, if you spot it, you got it. I learned that from Donna. I saw Donna in here. Good now, Donna. I've never heard that until I was talking with Donna one day. Indy says, interesting view on insults. I like it. Thank you. I love that. Which one, Nancy? The spot it, you got it? Interesting question, Justin. Just causes can be subjective. What is just treatment for one person can be unfair for another. Yeah, I know, right? Spot it. You can't unhear it. Like, if you spot it, you got it. So if you're irritated with something about someone, there's something that's resonating with it within. It's a mirror. Or if you love something about someone, same thing. It goes both ways. Did I say good now to everyone? Nope. Good now, Jeanette. Who else has popped in? Good now out loud, Bethany. I said it in my mind when you first popped in. And Marina as well. Good now, Trish. Justin, how are you? Are you clear on, like, because I feel like I don't know that because good intentions, yeah, it could be we can think they're good, but we don't really know how they're going to affect other people, and all of our energy is rippled out beyond who we are even interacting with. It just ripples out into the world. When it comes to external power and you have a group of people who believe they know what's best, Yarita and hinted at it, that is subjective. Okay. Tania, is that how you say your name, love? Tania? Thank you. Today is my first time joining. I have to sign off. When is the next one? It will be next Saturday. I don't think I grabbed the card. So it'll be every Saturday. I'm still figuring out because I'm hosting a retreat coming up. I'm still figuring out the time for that day, but for the most part, it will be 9-10 Eastern in the morning. Carolyn, good now, everyone. I snuck in, love Gary's books, and look forward to our conversations for sure. Tanya, ha ha ha. Of course it is. Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate that. The correction. And also, I have a tube channel. So these are recorded. So because I'm getting ready to go over like what exercises and some life lessons that have questions with it. So if you want to gather all those things, then you can catch the replay. So for any of y'all, if you ever miss a day or come in late and like what's going on, later than we first started, not late as in because there's no such thing. You can catch the replay on the tubular. I created a playlist and it'll be closer to the top. So good like that. What you talking about, Nancy? Helen says good. Well, I say good now so often. It actually reads hello. Helen says hello everybody. I missed the beginning. Sorry. Can you tell me what edition year of the book you are reading? When I go online, it talks about the latest one with an updated study guide. Thank you. Yes, that is what we have. 25th anniversary edition organization. Thank you, love. Justin says, because I have these conversations where people say power respects power. Not saying I believe that, but is something I've had conversations with people about. So I would be curious to ask what they define as power. You're welcome, love. What do they define as power? Because authentic power is still a form of power. So I feel like if it's someone who is their power comes from external, I don't know if it's respect so much as it could be like, I see you at some point you could be a competition or whatever. I don't know. That's just kind of what comes to mind. Money status. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So the exercise, am I multi-sensory? This is the exercise. Yeah, I'll put this on the document. For anyone who's like, what is the Lettuce Fam document? If you go to my profile, click on About, scroll down to the link, you'll see a document on there, a button on there that says Let Us Relate. That is the document where I capture a lot of y'all's insights and shares and suggestions and all of that. I will create a tab specifically for this so that you will have the guide. And I'll put the link to the guide as well because I think it's free. So exercise. Am I multisensory? Make a list of ways you can identify that you are multisensory. For example, I know inside what decision I need to make. I have hunches. I value my insights. I use my intuition. Sometimes I know more than I can see. And let me know if I need to put that. But that's basically is like, it's really tapping into what cannot be seen. Yes, no need to apologize. I mean, that's a lot to. The question is, am I multisensory? So to kind of recognize the multisensory aspect of your being, these questions are kind of ones to contemplate or just kind of investigate. Do I do these? So make a list of ways you can identify that you are multisensory. For example, I know inside what decision I need to make. So basically, there's nothing externally that is, there's a knowing that you don't know where it has come from. I have hunches. I value my insights. I use my intuition. Sometimes I know more than I can see. So that's an exercise you can do just to recognize your multisensoriness. And if it's not something you can relate to, that is not an issue either. That is the whole purpose of this, is to wake that up in a conscious way. So I'm capturing these things so I can put it on the document. All right, life lessons. You may be surprised at how much multisensory perception is already a part of your life. The goal is to, I just said this, the goal is to recognize it, honor it, and experiment with it. Experiences of multisensory perception may be more natural to you than you expect. Multisensory perception is your ability to see beyond what the five senses can detect. Set your intention every day for the next week to find meaning for you personally in your everyday experiences. Open yourself to seeing meaningful. I have to be making up words. Open yourself to seeing meaning that you did not see before and recognizing your insights as valuable experiences of multisensory perception. Take notes and journal every night about what you have seen from your multisensory perception. At the end of the week, write down your answers to these questions. I will put these on a document, y'all. I'm gonna grab them right quick, because it's a lot to try to be like, what she say again? And try to write down and all that. But this is giving you a preview. All right. What was your most meaningful example of multisensory perception? What did you learn from this experience? How did your intention to find meaning in your everyday life affect your experiences? Be specific. How did what you discovered affect your perspective of yourself and others? Give examples. So that's what's going to be in the, and I'll do it as soon as we hang up this live so that it'll be ready for you to just grab it. And then it's saying take another week to set the same intention every day. Take notes and journal every night about what you have seen from your multisensory perspective. And at the end of this time, write answers to these questions. What did you discover about yourself by opening to your multisensory perception? Be specific. What is the first multisensory experience in your life that you recognized as a multisensory experience? And what is the most meaningful example of a multisensory experience in your life? So I will definitely put these on the document for y'all. You will know what tab it is because it will specifically say Seat of the Soul, and you can grab it from there. What we discovered from this multisensory experience. Yeah, it's going to be on the document, Justin. There's a lot to try to capture. And I'll do that for every week. In the meantime, if anything comes to mind at the moment for you, like multisensory wise, does anyone have anything they'd like to share? I know Jennifer shared like the intuition, the feeling, like you don't know why. Thank you, Nicole, for all the documentation. You're so welcome, love. You don't know why this has happened, or like, how did I know to do this? Because these are things that your senses, your five senses, are like blind to. They're just clueless. You can't taste it, see it, touch it, feel it. What's the other one? Hear it. But it's there, and it's guiding you. I will say, since I learned TM, it's been stronger. Like, I will just know. I mean, I felt it there before, but the guidance is different. It's like a silent hand just walking me along my path. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share? Any thoughts, comments, concerns, questions, resistance, celebration? So if you go to my profile, let me grab it. Let me see if I'm logged in here. Why does it take so long to load? Okay. If you go to my profile, go to About, and then go to the link on the bottom of that page, you will see, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth, nope, sixth, seventh link down. Hold on, I can't see it because I have my notepad in front. The seventh link down, it says, Let Us Relate. I'll probably change the name of that, but not right now. That is a document that has all these. Probably because I don't have Google Docs, but it should just go into the browser. Yeah. So this is a document I created that has all kinds of stuff shared from all the different lives and conversations that we had, that people shared thoughts, words of wisdom, all kinds of things. And so I will create a tab that says Seat of the Soul, and I will put the workbook study guide in there. And I will make an intention to do it before the next live. So next week we'll be reading chapter 2. I will put that in there like Saturday evening, because I don't want you to overwhelm yourself and try to get ahead of yourself. But yeah, so if you're on mobile, at the very bottom you'll see the name of the tab. So you just scroll through the different tabs. Good Lord. Stop it. It's because it's my document, so it's like letting me edit it. I made it so that people can't accidentally edit. But yeah, so if you scroll through, you'll see the one that says Seat of the Soul, and I will put week 1 there as soon as we're done with this live, and then I'll put week 2 there next Saturday not next Saturday, Friday night before our Saturday talk. Sometimes I feel when something is wrong with someone in my family. Yeah, I love that, Verna. Yep. Justice says TM helped a ton. Yeah, Adita, that makes sense about the document. You're welcome. Helen says, I'm curious about personality ego being described as external. I had hoped that at least some things that are of the ego were aspects of the soul, giving me the opportunity to learn about me. So when he says external, I am wondering, external to where? Sorry if this is... Helen, first of all, I'm hugging you because there's no such thing as a dumb question. You only know what you know until you know it, right? So the ego, when you say external to you, it just means it's not like your soul is literally the seat of who you are, is the very, very foundation, the very depth of who you are. The ego is the personality through which the soul gets to experience this world. So in theory, the ego is external to the soul because it's not one and the same. You will be able to still get to, because what did you say? Opportunity to learn about you. Oh, hun. Every day, every time you join one of these lives, for one, you learn more about yourself. But when you say you were hoping to get the opportunity to learn about you, what are you referring to specifically? Because in theory, you are your soul. You're not your personality. The personality is just what has developed throughout this lifetime. When you brought up that guiding hand, that's how I feel about art and stories. I always come back to it throughout my life ever since I was a child. I love it. Just as multiplying the multisensory soul, so much love for this book and spiritual growth, for sure. Trish says, don't know if this counts, but when I was about 7, I was on the floor playing with my cat around a round coffee table. My mom and sister were watching me and laughing. All of a sudden, I looked up and everything had changed. The 3 of us were at the same, but we were wearing medieval clothing. The furniture was from that era. In a flash, it was gone. I didn't tell them, but at 7, I understood my soul has lived more than once. Not fully obliviously, but I, at 7 years old level, knew there was more to the soul than just this moment. I love that, Trish. I feel like it counts. Like, I wish I've had those experiences. Just says, thank you, Nicole, and multisensory beings here for the purpose of spiritual growth. For sure, Jess. I love that, Trish. Cindy loved that too, Trish. That's so cool to experience that at such a young age. And the fact that you weren't scared. Like, what the heck? You're like, huh, okay, I got it. Noted. I love that. And I love that you remember that. Really cool. Deja vu considered multisensory. You know, the jury's out on that for me personally, only because during my brain health training, he seems to think that deja vu is an unbalanced brain. And I can't say that for certain, but he's a scientist more so than a spiritualist. So I don't know what deja vu actually is, because it's not like you're hearing things, you're hallucinating or anything. So I cannot intelligently answer that question from any perspective. I would say let yourself explore that. Ask that question, because that's one of the things he's getting at, right? It's like, allow yourself to be open to things that are not within your 5 sensory perception. So you can set the intention to understand what deja vu is. I don't know if you'll come to a conclusion, but at least it may open you up to some other thoughts or things coming in. Yadida says, that is a great experience. Trish loved it. Yes. Thanks for the sharing. You're welcome, Jeanette. Have you had moments where you feel like deja vu? I have. That's why I'm like, is my brain broke? I know it's not, but I am curious about it. I have not studied deja vu, so I cannot speak intelligently about it. Cindy says, same here, Trish. I've had so many deja vus where I can tell you what is going to happen as it's happening. I also could connect and see things in nature at a very young age that felt like I've been around, and the universe was more than this third experience. I love that. That is so freaking cool. I would like, if I experienced that, amnesia is my trauma response. I had trauma starting at age 4, and it didn't stop. So I don't remember much of my childhood. So if I had any of those experiences, they are not in reachable memory. Jeanette says, they moved up. Someone once told me that is a sign you are where you are meant to be in time. I love that, Jeanette. I think in the Matrix it means it means something was broken in the Matrix. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you, Jeanette. I love that. I've not heard that before. Jamie says, I'm curious if deja vus are connected to past life experiences. I am too. Or multiple, like we are existing in multiple timelines at the same time. Like you parallel universes. I don't know. It's fascinating. I refuse to like say nothing's impossible because there's so many things we like that we can't even perceive. So who knows? Jennifer says, from a neuroscience perspective, it's often explained as a brief mismatch between the brain stems that process recognition and memory. Your brain tags a new experience with a feeling of familiarity. That part that I was trying to say. Yes, thank you, Jennifer. And that's why I'm like, but what causes that? I feel like maybe it's your brain opening up to something that it just doesn't recognize. I don't know. At this point, I'm just speculating. I would love if they were predictable, and to have your brain attached to a scan, EEG, at the time of a deja vu moment. I would still be curious to see how it's firing, and how would they know that from a because they happen so randomly. It's not like you could be like, okay, hook me up. I'm gonna make a deja vu happen. So you can scan my brain and see what's happening with all of the stuff, all the wiring. That's interesting though. Thank you, Jennifer. Cindy says, I think that was my connection and protection too. I too had a life of abuse and trauma, so hardly any memories. Yeah. Sending you extra love. Thank you for sharing. Yadia says, I love that movie, Nicole. I feel like when I first saw it, it kind of went over my head. It was more entertaining than anything. And then as my consciousness grew, I was like, oh good gosh. The movies be telling on the universe and stuff. We just think it's entertainment. Anyway, Sarah says it could be a genetic memory from an in utero memory. Wow, in utero. Can you tell I haven't had kids? In utero memory. Good Lord. I don't think I've ever, I've heard that word, but I don't think I've ever seen it spelled. In utero. Thank you, Sarah. That is interesting too. I love that perspective. It's okay. Look, if you hang out with me long enough, I will just, you've seen it. If you've been here the whole time I've been reading, I make up words. It's not even there. I'm like, how am I saying this word? And that's not even, because I'm anticipating what's coming next instead of being fully present and reading what I see. Jamie says, I wonder the same about phobias that are just there without it being tied to an experience in this lifetime. There are books that says that those are good now, Leon, that comes from past trauma, like inherited trauma or more so inherited. Like even the book, It Didn't Start With You. That book is, y'all. That one is a tough one to get through. Ancestral trauma, yeah. That one's a tough one. It's a good book though. One of the stories in there, I'm gonna get to Helen in a second. One of those stories in there was talking about, a couple of the stories it pointed to like violent people who it just started at a certain age, and then come to find out family history, someone in their history at that particular age was this or whatever, and it's like it was inherited. I can't really explain it, but that book was very fascinating. I feel like that is a multi-sensory book. Jamila says, I choose to see deja vu like signs I was on the right path. I love it. I'll take it like a synchronicity or something. Helen says, that all makes me think, how do I tell what is intuitive and considered soul and origin, and what is personality? I suppose that's a different experience for each of us. How do I even know, even learn to know the difference, let alone actually see the difference? Okay. So where you start is one, and that's kind of what these questions are actually guiding you towards, Helen. So once I get them up on the document, you can explore them and like dig into them. But part of it is one, setting the intention to experience the difference. and be more and have it be more clear to you what the difference is. I feel like when it's soul driven, there's an inherent knowing. Like, you didn't use data to figure it out, you didn't use emotions to figure it out. It's just something you knew, and you don't quite understand, like, why do I know this? That is part of how I understand it to be versus personality. But I feel like they work very well together when they are aligned. Like, if there's parts of you that know that this is dangerous, but you don't, like, and you're intuitively know, like, and this could be dangerous in this moment, something, and you don't act on whatever that is, because in that moment there is something telling you to not do that. Like speeding. You know not to speed, but in this moment you intuitively know, especially if you normally like to speed. I'm not claiming that. But intuitively, like, don't speed right now. And you don't even know why that happened. And then a few seconds later, you pass a cop who's waiting to catch speeders. I feel like that's how when they work together. But seriously, these exercises and these questions for you to reflect on and marinate on over this week. And then we'll have a discussion next Saturday. That's how you start to cultivate it. But I'm willing to bet that you have these multisensory experiences that you probably didn't recognize as that, because it just happens and you don't really think about it. So now that you're more aware that that is a thing, you can consciously notice them, which will also help cultivate that. I hope that helps. And I hope that makes sense. Like the cherry blossom experiment. I don't know about it. Jamie, tell me about the cherry blossom experiment. Justin says, I'm learning about my family history. We just used the Ancestry site. Finally saw our ancestral regions on Dad's side, waiting on Mom's side. Awesome sauce. Good now, Randy. Anything else come into mind for anybody? Who have I not said good now to? Betty, good now, Betty love. And Beth, good now. That freaking puppy. Eloise, good now, love. Did I miss anyone? Yes, I did. Alexis, good now to you. Sadie, good now to you. It's all about practicing. Absolutely. Thanks. I'll see you next week. See you next week, Trish. Yadida says, this is a great, there's a great Turkey series about ancestral trauma streaming in Netflix. Nice. I love how you wrote that. Wow. I didn't even know it went to that degree. Thank you for sharing. I don't have a Netflix account. Good now, Amelie. Where's Amelie? Do I have two Beths? That is so cool. Alejandra, good now, love. If I have not said good now to you, please if you don't mind me acknowledging you and saying good now to you, please say it in the chat. Good now, Lynn. Eric, good now, love. I try to make sure I say good now to everybody. Melanie, good now, love. Benesiquai, good now, love. I'm so glad you put the phonetic spelling. Good now, Dane. Good now. We have two Helens. I like it. Cindy, good now. I don't know if I said it to you out loud. Geneva, I did say good now to Geneva, yes. All right, are there any other thoughts, questions, concerns? I appreciate the questions. I do believe that these exercises will be very helpful, though, and I will get them done ASAPly. Good now, love. ASAPly, I know. That means super as soon as possible. As soon as possible on steroids. Brianna says, hi, I'm sorry I joined late. No such thing. Just curious, how far did you get into the book? We listened to Oprah and Maya, which is the forwards, and I read so basically end of chapter 1. So that's what we did. I read the forward. We listened to the forwards. What is the other called? The other what? Forwards, and then preface. Okay, so we listened to the prefaces. I read the forwards, and we read through chapter 1. And the study guide I will be putting in the document that I have on my profile. If you're like, where is that document? And you like, even if you go to my profile and like, I can't find it, just reach out to me. My DMs are open, or I have a group here on IT as well. You can throw it in there like, Nick, where'd you put it? Where is it? And I'll be happy to guide you through there. Vámonos. Let us go. You go. You tell me what to do. I'm just kidding. Enjoy your day, Justin. Good Lord. I'm reading other names while I'm trying to say your name. Brianna says, wonderful. That's about as far as I've read preparing for today. Excellent. Yep. We'll just do one chapter because, as you can see, like, just having a discussion, because with new paradigms, they're gonna be like, wait, what? Which is what makes it so beautiful and fun. Shake you out of your norm, because it's you're so programmed from a young age. So I love stuff like this, which is why 7 Habits was a good book for me too. It woke me up out of some things. Jess says divine intelligence is using multisensory perspective versus 5 senses in our evolution. Yes, yes. Brianna says, thank you. You're so welcome, love. Yes, yes. Awesome. Any other thoughts? Oh my goodness. I'm seeing on my computer. It's June 11th and 11:11 a.m. All the ones. I love it. That's crazy. Last thoughts, questions, and also if you do catch the replay on the Tubular, and you can post in the comments there, I will respond. You can also post to questions or things in my group here on IT. So wherever, like if as you're going through this week and you're working through these exercises and you like either have an epiphany or you have a question, feel free to share it on either location so we can all engage and love on you and celebrate you and support you. It was with the scent of cherry blossoms. The scent was introduced, then a painful sensation was introduced until it was ingrained in the subject. Excuse me. Oh yeah. Their offspring were then introduced to the. Yes. I didn't hear the cherry blossom one. It was something more not nice. But yeah. So when the kids were born, they smelled cherry blossoms and they were like, nope, not doing it. Yeah. It is called Antara Mastery World Peace Through Inner Peace. I'm gonna write it here first. Through inner peace. So it'll be easier to just copy and paste and not be stomping on the keys. Nicole, what are you hoping we will get out of this book? And also, what is your main experience from it? What I am hoping is for it to just shake up some things within you, but also elevate your consciousness. And my experience from it, it just made me even more aware of some things. I've already been practicing TM for 2.5 to 3 years when I read this book. So I already knew that I was multi-sensory. My consciousness is expanding because TM puts you in touch with the soul aspect of you. And my goal is I would love, which is world peace through inner peace, literally. So when you get this internal power strengthened, or authentic power as he calls it, strengthened, you can more easily cultivate inner peace, and it will spread out into the world. That's all I want. So like create inner peace so that we can create that ripple out into the world and raise the collective consciousness, because that matters. Our government shows where our collective consciousness is right now, and it's not good. It's not helpful to everybody. I would like all the wins. Win-win. Can we just win-win? But right now it doesn't always feel like a win-win situation. So the more we raise our collective consciousness, the more things will shift that are not in our control. So that's the only way we can control anything that's not in our control, is by taking care of ourselves and just creating the highest, bringing out the highest versions of ourselves. I don't like to say high because it's not like a low high thing, but the deepest part of you. Start to get that deep infused with the ego part, and your actions will be more powerful and more aligned with nature. So yeah, that's the goal. I hope that answers your question. Rainey says, Nicole, when you get a chance, read my little phrase in my profile. Oh, let me read it. Brandy says, inner peace, outer love, inner love, outer peace. Breathe, repeat. Oh, I love it. I love it, love it. This came to me in my studies of my master's program, as I learned the external effects of TM outside of us, and that's when TM became a civic duty, and when I was like, oh, world peace is actually achievable. Won't be in my lifetime, but if we can just start cultivating it, and let that cherry blossom effect happen to our kids because we cultivated it so deeply within ourselves. We can start to create that. It is a possibility. And I love that, Randy. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation to read it out loud, too. Gratitude for the book. I appreciate this especially. Plus TM, I'm looking forward to future chapters and see where this journey takes me. Yeah, man. You're welcome, Randy. Awesome. Any last thoughts, comments, questions? Y'all ready to get the workbook? To get to work. I'll be doing it with you. Katie! All right. Well, thank you for riding with me through the Seat of the Soul, and I will see y'all next week. Hey there! And we get to just discuss like what we experienced over this week, and then keep it moving to chapter 2. Thank you for the love. Thank you for showing up and allowing your paradigm to be questioned, or not questioned, but what's the word? The word is not coming to me. I bet someone here knows what I'm trying to say. An exciting journey together. Absolutely. Just give yourself the opportunity. You're allowing yourself to explore other ways of being and thinking and experiencing. Explored. I like that word, Verna. Thank you. Comfort zone, magnify and examine. See, this is why this has to be a community thing. Thank you. Thank you. Reflected, introspection. Yes, I can't think of it either. Like, but you know what I'm trying to say. Y'all can feel it. That's that multisensory thing that we got going on. All right, my loves. I will see y'all. What's tomorrow? The 12th? World peace is achieved by more individuals being at peace than in struggle. Absolutely. That's what I'm trying to cultivate. That's why I host meditation live every morning, Monday through Friday. That's why I read books to create inner mastery. It's hard to have inner peace if you don't have mastery of this inner world here. So exciting. Looking forward to be shaken. Yeah. I should play something. I guess it's shook. No. Yes. All right, loves. I will see you around the app. I don't think I have a live tomorrow. Next weekend, next Sunday, I do have my podcast. Pam Zika will be on. I do have a podcast on here once a month. There is a form that you can fill out if you would like to just have a conversation. I don't really want to call it a podcast because it's just me having a conversation with someone, and it's called Tips Over Tea. I like for people to just share some tips, things that they've learned throughout their lives that other people may benefit from. So I feel like all of y'all have that. So if you ever just want to have a conversation about anything in particular that you're especially passionate about, people like learning, that will help them evolve and grow. That's the only criteria. Feel free to just reach out. I would love to have a conversation about that. So that said, I will see y'all around the app, whether it's in my live or another. You read it years ago. Good to see it here. No worries. You know it's on the tubular. You're welcome, Laura, Helen, Jamie, Indy. May you all create the most amazing now moments. Until I see you next time, make every moment count, because that's all we have is this now moment. Jai Guru Dev. And I'll see y'all around, whether it's in my live or another's. Thank you now. You're so welcome. Thank you, Jess. Let us, yes. Peace, love, and gratitude. Let us shine. That's how I'm reading Jess's hieroglyphic. Let us shine with gratitude. All right, my loves. I will see you. Thank you for being here. So, so grateful for this time together. And ciao for now. And let me find you at this window. Thank you for whomever is watching from the tubular. I really appreciate you. And hopefully see you next week. Ciao for now.